Can we come to order? The first item on the agenda is Paul Dudley, and it's my understanding that he's not here.
That's
Is that right?
correct. Robin called him and asked if he was coming to the meeting. He stated no, he requested support to be again postponed to December. It's important to point out to the commission that the zoning ordinance says that the commission will act on a COA request within 60 days of the first meeting. So it's been postponed at least twice. It's my recommendation to the commission that you go ahead and act on the original request, which assuming will most likely be denial. And then the property owner can submit a new COA, so we can do away with this item.
All right. Applications Committee?
Make a motion that the application be denied as submitted.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. The motion is denied. Okay. The next is Horizon Behavioral Health. Is there someone here for them?
Both of us.
Okay. Do you want to come up and sit in these chairs?
Sure.
We need your name and the address.
My name is Steve Adrian. I own and operate Fast Signs out in Forest, Virginia, 14521 Forest Road. And this is Lauren Connors, and she is the marketing assistant for Horizon Behavioral Health.
Okay. Do you want to describe your project to us?
Yes, we got a request from Horizon Behavioral Health to put a sign up at their Cortland location. The requested location was over the front doors. We proposed a high-density urethane type sign, which is this material here. This is the material. It's very similar to wood.
Okay.
They're all over Lynchburg, very common. When looking at the options for putting a sign up there, we thought it would be very difficult to match the existing architecture, and that's why we propose that we go all the way across with the new sign, so it blends as closely as possible to the existing architecture rather than trying to place something within it.
Okay. Did you get a chance to look at this?
We did. Just so you know, once we make a motion, we open it up for discussion, so it's, when I make a motion, it's not the end.
Okay.
We find that it does not meet the guidelines because it is covering a significant architectural feature of the building. And I will make a motion that it be denied as requested.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Do we have a photo of their application or of the proposed?
Tom's trying to get.
Oh, if you folks have it.
For some reason, projector's
Not cooperating today.
no.
And if I may just add, we have 7 wellness centers across Lynchburg, Appomattox, Campbell County, Amherst, and Bedford. And so when we rebranded, we're trying to, make it look all very similar so that people can easily pick out where they're going. We have a building right next to that is not a wellness center, it's the CEO's office, so sometimes people get confused. So we're really trying to just label that building and brand it the way that we branded all of our other wellness centers, which is the reason why we're here.
Obviously, you can.
Go back and make any type of adjustment you want, but in this case, you've got a beautiful entablature above the entry, and the historic name of the building above the entry. And may I refer to this just real
please.
quickly? So you have this existing sign here.
Right.
If you were to position that sign perpendicular to the building, you could actually see it a little better on the street. You'd see it both directions. The parallel sign, you have to be right up on the building or coming up 7th Street, I think it is, or 6th, I get mixed up, to see that. So if you were you planning on putting this sign up and keeping that sign?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I guess I'd say at least you might be able to take that other sign, reposition it, and add the wellness center under it as an add-on, because it really is a beautiful entablature to the building, so it's just against our guidelines for you to cover it up.
Yeah, if you're in a historic district, your rules are gonna be a little different than what you might normally put on a new building. So it's just, it's a little more delicate
Right.
in this district.
And then possibly, I know it adds on to your application, but on the adjacent building, which is another very unique building to Lynchburg, which I guess would be 600, if this is 602, I guess it's 600. You might want some wayfinding signage that's smaller scale that says, you know, executive offices, and then down below, please proceed to. And then because it's independent, like what you did here is great, it's independent of it, then people will see it a little better, and it's not affecting the architecture. But that's just, you know, you can do all kinds of things, it's just one option, utilizing what you already have, and just picking it up and repositioning. Any
Could I make a
other-
comment on that? The option of turning the existing sign 90 degrees, there's not enough depth there on the property to be able to do that. So I would recommend, I mean, we would have to keep that one as it is.
What about hanging it between the columns in the front? Is that an option?
We can do that if that is something that would be
Yeah, I don't know.
acceptable.
I mean, I don't know what the rest of the committee thinks about that, but at least it would, the entablature would be intact. And it wouldn't be as intrusive.
Is that transom glass that's above the doors?
Yes.
Is there anything on that transom that you need to read, that if you put in another
The
sign?
building number, but it's in black, it appears to be. It's
Yeah,
hardly
you can't even
visible.
see it.
And I would say that sign, it's true, at a true 90-degree angle, it does look like it's very tight there and probably wouldn't fit, but it could also be slightly angled on your property corner, which again would be very visible, because I used to work, you know, a couple doors up from there, and I noticed when the new sign went in, I like the rebranding, it really helps, but it is really kind of hidden, so.
Or what about even a bracketed sign coming off of one of the columns?
But we can make anything.
I mean, I think that might even, you know, because you've got, don't you have a square?
There's a square in the corner
Yeah.
and round in.
So the square corner would be very conducive to putting a bracket on and coming out with, you know, if you could, you know, make.
A shingle type.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if you have to have I guess she was talking about, you want to keep your signs pretty consistent. I don't know if you would be able to do it here, but certainly that would be visible. And I think that might also be a solution to.
Is there a, if we went with that option with a extending bracket, most brackets are in the 36-inch to 48-inch range. Would something that large be acceptable, or would it need to be more in the 24-inch?
They got, whatever the sign ordinances are, I guess you'd have to conform to those also. Because, you know, we're just here for the historic aspect of it. But you also have to conform to whatever the downtown historic side.
Technically, you already have a sign up, so you're asking for a second sign on the building. And I don't know how planning and zoning reads that. Usually you're allowed one sign, but, you know, it could be considered a wayfinding sign.
They'd be permitted the freestanding sign, which they have, then they'd be permitted wall signage. And the way it works is they're permitted so many square feet per linear feet of building. So any signage on the building, so like on the doors, that would count. We would not count the historic sign, name of the building. And then whatever they're proposing would count, so. Again, it's probably not going to be an issue with the size of the sign, but that doesn't mean it would be appropriate with what the zoning ordinance would allow.
And I know there are guidelines we have for sizes for freestanding signs. I don't know if that's in our book or if it's in the sign ordinance book. But I have read somewhere about recommended sign sizes.
Generally, it's, I don't know if it's different for the freestanding, but generally, it's 75% of the linear width of your store frontage.
Yeah.
So-
You know, see,
Yeah.
that sign you have right there seems to be, you know, if you hung that out there on a bracket, that size, I think, would meet code, or meet guidelines. And I don't know if you need something bigger than that.
That's a lot of verbiage to get on that little sign, though, if you use the entire wellness center at Court Street.
So if you just drop it down.
Look at this one. Can't even see it. It's just a waste of.
Yeah, obviously, you won't be able to get,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
we can
that
do that,
long
too.
sign, you know, sticking out.
No, Lauren was asking about, back to the pillar thing, going in between the pillars.
Or you could go above it, perhaps. I mean, and this is just me suggesting this, where that balustrade is, maybe something in front of that on top of the roof, if you didn't have to penetrate the roof.
I would say that that really takes away from the architectural
Yeah.
features.
So it may.
It's,
You could go in between the columns, but would it obscure your building number?
you look up at an angle, so I doubt it
Be-
would. It's
If you're
kind of
standing
from-
street level below looking.
Yeah,
at-
like police or
Uh-huh.
pedestrians, it's probably, you'd have to be the judge of that, but I think you're probably okay.
Does
Plus,
the-
you've got the street number right on the corner, which is
Mhm.
handy. I will say that, you know, and again, this is just a practical thing. You've put a lot of money into the sign that's there. And if it just got canted and repositioned, it's a great-looking sign. And then all you're adding is the wellness center down below, which you often see that happening with a pedestal sign with something below. I guess to me, that's the least intrusive to this building, and it feels like your sign that's there is not really getting all of the bang for the buck. It is common for people to put it parallel to the building, but it often doesn't help pedestrians, and I know you've got a lot of people, they just drive real slowly looking, where do I go? And I see them go, you know, it's not as visible because there's bushes there, and it's not, you know, it's kind of tucked back against the building.
It would actually be more expensive to alter that existing monument sign.
Well, it's up to you what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Is
it's
that
not up to
greenery
me.
there? In this picture, it doesn't exist, but are there
They
trees around
They
it?
trimmed all the hedges. That's all gone now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We took those
yeah.
trees,
Yeah, they're
both,
out.
both, yeah.
That's all cleared out.
Okay.
They'd be limited to
Thank you.
24 square feet,
24 square feet.
total wall signage.
So 4 by 6-ish.
Well, but you also have the door signage, so it'd be smaller than.
Oh, okay, right.
What's gonna happen to this other sign out front?
Stays?
So you're gonna have 3 signs?
That's what they're proposing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm trying to suggest to consolidate on the sign that's already existing.
I didn't
Just-
realize you even had one up there. until I look
Well,
at it.
and you don't even have to reposition the sign, you could just put it on that sign, if all that greenery is cleared off, you could reposition it, and then that would be a very low-cost way. And then maybe your door, your paste-on letters on the door could be a little bolder to show people what to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The key purpose of the sign is to designate this specific entry as the wellness center. Is that correct?
Can't tell what that says.
Well,
So you've got some options there, and is there, anyone else have any?
So what's your feedback on what we've discussed? Is it out of the question? I mean, is the third sign necessary?
That's not for me to comment on.
It's kind of, we're just trying to keep the same, you know, when you go up to our wellness centers, it is clearly marked, this is the wellness center at Amherst, Horizon Wellness Center at Amherst. So, we wanted to keep consistency. If this, obviously this is a different building, some of our other buildings are newer. So maybe we can try to come up with another plan. This is just simply what our CEO wanted, so we will try to come up with another plan and see if that works. It seems like that's what our next step is.
Because she can, if this gets denied, they can come back again, correct?
Yeah, they change it substantially.
My recommended solution would be to either pursue the bracket with a shingle or something between the pillars and hanging. I mean, if we went either one of those, we would still use this material. Because we can make this any shape, any size that we need to. So I think we could even, if we hung it between the pillars, we could just say wellness center, you know, and it's a smaller sign, there's not as much verbiage. It's obviously at Court Street.
It is.
But that's what I would recommend to Horizon.
Okay.
so are we good?
So we're gonna make a motion, I mean, gotta take a vote, I guess.
Okay. All in favor of
The original.
Denying the application.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Can I get your guys' names for the minutes, please?
Sure. Steve Adrian,
And you're with,
Fast Signs.
sorry, hang on one second. My document keeps going away. All right, Steve Adrian, Adrian,
Yep.
the Fast Signs.
Mhm.
Okay.
My name's Lauren Connors, CONNORS, with Horizon Behavioral Health.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So
Great,
you'll
thank
be
you.
Thank you.
coming back with another application?
Yes.
Okay.
Does this happen once a month, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's usually on the third Monday of the month, so if you can try to have it in like maybe a week or two before the meeting, that would be great.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
thank you for your
Third
time.
Monday. Okay. All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, William Vaughn and Jennifer Woofter? Not here? No? Anna Spencer?
Right here.
Okay.
My name is Michael Spencer. I represent my mother. I'm the POA, and she's 95, so she won't be able to be. But she would have been here if she could, though. So. Okay.
You've
Any
got your
questions?
name. What's the house number?
Oh, 1306 Pierce Street,
Okay.
Lynchburg, Virginia.
And can you tell us about your project?
Well, that one, it was a safety hazard. My mother, that's one of the egresses. I have one in the, excuse me, in the back of the house. And with the front, I guess after all the repairs, I'm not, well, I'm here now, but I haven't lived here. But I guess they had certain people working on it.
Okay.
So it had a lot of different applications, let's put it that way. It wasn't done right, from my observation. So I could give you, okay, the bottom step, which is the first step on the tread. When you walk on it, it kind of like, no, well, it kind of rolled. So, and then the second one was same weight, but it wasn't bad, going up the stairs. So, yeah, the porch needs some attention, and it's been neglected for a period of time. So, what I'm doing, doing certain things, time, because it's expensive. I mean, it's just been, I think I've put in 3 roofs, 3 separate roofs for my mother, and among other things. But what I did, with no disrespect, is that I put like brick on it. I looked for the kind of tile, and I brought some samples of the tile that was on there. I mean, I didn't talk to Randy Parr. I didn't talk to many people in that business, Bloxley Block, and they went on their website to find, they just couldn't find, they had a gray, but it wasn't what was on it. Now, let me explain something. That tile that I'm gonna show you is not the original tile. That's what I took off. So I really don't know what the original tile was. So if it was a tile at all, like I talked to Mr. Morris, he stopped by today, and I went over a few things with him. On the driveway side, which would be on the right, my mother just can't make it up there. And I had to tell Mr. Morris to watch his step going down, because there's not a rail there. There never has been. So, but the rise is like 12, maybe 16 from the porch, where it dropped down maybe 3/4 of an inch from the top of the porch down. The first one is a long step. And then the other ones are not quite consistent. So that one would be my next project, but I'd have to camouflage it. When I say camouflage it, put a cosmetic, and that's not really gonna do. So my suggestion that I'm making is that it had some kind of tile at one time on the other one, and it looks like they popped it off and kind of put a little skim coat and put some paint on it. But my suggestion is, whatever the front's gonna be, whatever you allow me to do, then eventually I'm gonna do that, the same size. So it'd be, and plus, once I do that, I'll put a handrail. I'm not gonna put a handrail up prior to that, because it's kind of difficult to put up, gotta make too many kind of fancy cuts, and it's not smart to do, let's put it that way. So as you well know, look at the columns on each side, the little, I can't think of the names. Anyway, where the little lines are on each side, those have to be addressed. I don't know what's wrong. I just don't want to open up Pandora's box and then nothing's getting done. But my main concern was the safety of my mother coming down, and the mailman and other people that come up. I'm always telling somebody, when I hear somebody, the dog lets me know. And, well, my mom's a little dog. So he lets me know, because I'm always downstairs. And then I tell people, look, when they're coming to see me, they usually call, but I tell people, look, watch your step, hold on to the rail. And that's, I've been doing that, you know, and I had put some tape on it, but sometimes kids in the neighborhood,
So
they snatch it off, so.
there used to be some like red clay tile that you don't think's original, but that came, you took that off to look at what you were
Yeah,
dealing with?
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
picture of that.
This one
Yeah,
shows the
yeah.
red clay
Those.
pretty well.
But I brought something to get me, you can see more realistic. And, if you don't mind bringing it up.
Oh, yeah, no, please. We'll pass it around.
It's kind of dirty, so
That's all right.
that's one.
It's the old terracotta
Huh?
tile.
Yeah. And then you see this,
Yeah, thinner.
see,
So the thickness of your brick is more that.
no, the thickness of my brick is more that. There were more tiles like that, but there were more damaged tiles. So
And so you didn't have any luck finding that product again?
I tried
or-
finding something in both. This is an unsafe tile to have overhang on, it's not,
Right.
this is not stair material.
Right,
Because you always have a lip
right.
in most cases. If you step on it,
Yeah,
let's
might
say
just
you have a
break
person,
off.
if it breaks off,
Right,
you know what can happen?
yeah.
Oh,
Keep on going.
That's just other one down. So
Okay.
sorry.
How much of a lip was on the original, do you know?
Well, the other one was about a half inch to 3/4.
And the new one will have about the same?
I'm gonna have to put the same on there. Plus, it's about a 16th thicker than this one here. And I didn't bring it, but I took pictures, and Mr. Morrison took some pictures too. I could give you my camera and let you.
I can actually show it to him.
What about a finer quality brick paver, or did Boxley look for that and they can't find it, like a little
Well, that's
smoother?
that's what I,
That's what you're trying to get them to find?
well, you'll see, you don't mind me standing up?
No, no.
Okay. Can that, oh, see, that's in the down. Those are what you call halves. That I had them make for that, okay, thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Whoever did that.
Yeah,
Those are what you call halves.
Yep.
And halves, I don't know if any of y'all have any experience with halves. But when you put them down, you gotta kind of
Oh, I see.
baby them a little bit because they will float on you if you're not careful. Because they're not, you have to kind of put them down and make sure that your bed coat is locking in. I really didn't want to put those down because it's not grouted. I put them down, I put them down. And if I had to take them back up, that would be no problem. This is for the treads, okay? And I would have grounded it, but I wouldn't. But I told the lady from the planning commission.
I think you talked to.
Yes, I talked to you, but I didn't tell you.
And Rachel.
Yeah. And she said, fine. She said I could do that. And I said, I'm not gonna grout them, but I'm putting them up just in case of emergency. That's the fastest way for the EMS to come in, to come through the door and to get my mother. Well, the reason I'm saying that because my mother's been in the hospital and a little touch and go a few times, and that's the way they come. And they use a gurney and bring her down and out the door.
Right.
And matter of fact, I was out there when I called them, when they bring her down, because I was walking right behind. I told them about the step, and then finally I just had to do it because I couldn't keep any caution tape or any tape on it. Or like I said, we have some kids in the neighborhood. They're good kids, they're just a little curious, especially during Halloween, so. Yeah. So, let's see.
Okay.
So, did I?
Richard, I don't know of any products other than reclaim products.
That would match that?
Yeah, because all the quarry tiles just, 3/8 to a half, which isn't thick enough. I mean, I don't know if you know of any,
Not offhand, but I haven't really checked. You didn't talk to Randy? Did you?
Par?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Me
what
and
did he
Randy
say?
have some things going on, and so, I mean, good things.
Yeah.
So, but we haven't started it, and
So,
Mrs. Butterfield, columns on Harrison Street. I'm the guy that's handling that. Well, her whole
Really
project,
close.
but Randy's going to do the columns. I had him come because he has guys that himself specializing in columns, and so we're going to shore it up, and then probably within the next month or two. So the columns are going to be shored up. I don't know when they're coming down. That's another story, but we're shoring it up because I noticed a problem with the columns. That doesn't have anything to do with that. I was just explaining where I knew you from, you know.
so the only thing that I see, but I don't think, it's not as fine of a texture as the cut bricks, is, you know, there's a 12 by 12 red paver, which he could cut, but it truly has a lot of texture. It's a more poor quality. It's not as dense as clay, and it's a colored concrete, so it could even fade over time.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, a cement, and it's a lot of cutting. And then all of the quarry tile, I mean,
Well-
I'm not saying I've done an exhaustive search, I don't know what else.
I think the situation here is that we're changing material. So the question is whether or not the new material is satisfactory to this commission.
That's true, that's true.
And could we divide it to, and this, I may not be restating your application correctly, but would it be possible for us to divide it to the steps versus the tile? Because I think, and you guys chime in, I think if you're going to re-tile the flat portion of the patio, then quarry tile would be.
Okay, now, when you're talking about the patio,
Yeah, I don't know how much of the work is related to the patio versus the steps.
oh, okay.
So if we can divide between steps and patio, because patio could be done with quarry tile.
No, he's only doing the, he's only
Just the
doing the.
steps.
I
Okay.
didn't mean to
Okay,
get you.
I couldn't tell in that photo, it looked like it might be continuing on to the
I got a
patio.
picture of that,
It's
Oh,
going to
okay.
one bulkhead to another, to the
Oh, okay,
steps, I'm sorry, I didn't make
okay,
myself
no
clear.
problem, it just didn't
See,
want to,
See, I got some more pictures, I don't know if you guys.
Okay, there's his steps. See, he's only doing,
yeah, pilaster to pilaster,
Yeah.
okay.
so it's just that, it
Yeah.
sort of looked just like the last step.
Okay, so the applications commission or committee says what?
We have reviewed it. Our main concern is exactly what we've been referring to with, per the regulations, it's asking that original to the property should be retained and that they should be repaired with materials to match the original. However, what we're talking about with difficulty finding materials to match the original.
So the situation here is that the existing material cannot be repaired. So whether, and we cannot find original tile to match that. So is the new material satisfactory? I guess that's what we're discussing.
Okay,
I think thickness-wise, one of the concerns would be the profile or the edge, this edge. If that was, if it was very thin compared to the original, I think that would be objectionable. But what you're saying is the new brick is at least as thick
Yes.
as the original
Uh-huh.
tile.
Yes, it's, well, matter of fact, it's maybe a 16th or an 8th. I don't know if you took, I had the covers off. Can I show this to you? To y'all? Okay. This is one you kind of load it. There we go. I took it off to take a picture because I thought you might have some questions about that. So if you take a paver or brick, the size, and you cut it in half, you're gonna have like, almost like an inch and a quarter maybe. So it's gonna be about this big, and I apologize I was carrying that, and I had those on my mind, and I didn't bring the new brick, because to be honestly,
Well, it shows in the photo pretty well.
yeah, I didn't know if you would like, if you're gonna even like that, but if what I was doing is, that was the closest thing I could do.
Right.
And the safest thing, and my thing is safety right now. But I'm not bucking what you're doing, you have your job, but I was gonna replace it regardless. But I wasn't gonna replace it right away now, but I'm just gonna replace it back to whatever we agreed on. You know, if you wanted something a little bit, or could tell me where, then.
I guess if,
you know.
unfortunately, I can't direct to anything better. This seems like the closest facsimile to what, and from a distance, the old Google, thank you, the old Google
Yeah.
Maps one, you know, it shows as some type of terracotta, has very strong grout lines, but that probably wasn't original. So,
No, it was.
you know, this seems like as close as it's gonna come.
But I try to make the ground lines as similar to the ones that were there.
Okay.
Well, I think in this particular case, we don't know if those tiles are original. And we do not know what the original tiles were,
True.
and therefore, the new material will be our criteria. I think that it is acceptable in texture and depth.
Okay.
And therefore, I would make a motion that the application be approved as submitted for the replacement bricks.
Can I have to come? Now, the ones on the other side, I don't know if this will help, is this good or bad?
Hold your thought, let's just get a,
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
need a second?
I second that.
Okay.
now,
No, I apologize. On the driveway side, the
you still have to come in for an application.
Yes, yeah. But the driveway side, it's going to, when I come in for the application, I'm gonna have it, it's gonna match that with your approval.
But you have a different issue there, because you've got, the issue there you have is that first step is so deep that you're gonna have to be.
I've got to do some serious calculating to make it all pan out,
Yeah.
because the last step really goes into the driveway and back.
Yeah.
Now, cars are bigger, but, those kind of things, so it's just, there's
Okay.
a lot of things in the house going on right now. Well, it's been going on, but driveway and so on. So.
Just curious, is that a Stanhope Johnson house? It looks like,
Pardon me?
do you know if the architect was Stanhope Johnson originally, way back in the day? It looks like one of his on
Name's Johnson.
Harrison Street in Federal Hill. It's interesting.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
That makes sense
not
to
sure,
me, yeah.
but neat house.
Shall we go ahead with the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Good.
Good.
Well, thank you all very much for putting up with me and,
Good luck with it.
all right.
Tricky.
I'm glad, I was
did
worried
that?
about there was too many people over here. I said, oh, goodness.
Who did that wonderful stone wall out front? That's amazing.
I have the guy's name, he's deceased,
Oh, please.
but
I guess he's
my
no longer
brick
useful.
mason,
Darn.
my brick mason, he does that.
Oh, okay.
And,
It's neat.
and there's another guy, I don't know if he's still involved, he does good work also.
Neat.
Last thing he did was something on Rivermont, if you name,
Okay.
over the bridge, I think it was to the right. I can't tell you the street, but it was right on,
And there's someone up in College Hill that does amazing hedges. I mean, really artistic hedges up there. I need to get his name because they are out of this world.
You have a sister
Neat
named
look.
Sean?
yeah.
I've met her before. You all favor each other.
I
Very
don't
much.
know if that's good or bad.
She's
no.
very nice. She's very nice.
So, thank you. Okay, so.
Oh, we've got Richard next. I was like, are we done
All
already?
right, thank you very much for being patient.
You'll be getting this in the mail from Tom, okay?
Okay.
He'll email, I'm sorry, you don't use email,
Right.
he'll mail you your approval,
Okay, thank you so much. So, before I get the approval, can I go ahead and grout it before the holiday?
You're approved.
I mean, okay, so it doesn't, I don't have to wait for the paper or anything?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I shouldn't answer.
Actually, you're supposed to.
Okay.
I'd go ahead and do it. I'll mail it to you.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all, have a happy
Bye-bye.
holiday.
Take care.
Thank you.
And what is, let's see, what is your name? Mr.
Oh, Chris McSwing. I met her at the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Terry, I know her from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I tell you, I met with you today.
Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good holiday.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Moore, too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Mr. Morris?
I'm the victim. That's giving him a hard time.
The address of your property? And
205 F Street.
Okay, and can
Lynchburg.
you tell us about it?
Basically, what I'm doing is recreating the rear porch. The house was built in 1852. I have the original specs for this house, and what it calls for is a two-bay porch, and that's what this line is. This is what it originally called for on the specs. However, when they would do, the whole back of this house was all additions when it was converted to apartments. So when they took all the additions down, could you go to the pictures, Tom? Okay, that's good. When they took the picture, the rear additions down, this is what they found. You can see the pockets where the beams were. There's one, two, there's one over there somewhere, and then there's one here. So that's the original, and what they conjectured was that even though it said two porches, two bays, they actually did it all the way over because this is evidence of the column also that was on the house. So they think they actually did it all the way to here. I believe this was probably where they might have had, we don't know what this little piece is here, but we have the evidence of the two columns, the two pilasters that would have been attached to the house. Now, I also have restrictive covenants from Rivermont House, Inc., RHI. They have to also approve what I do. That's Travis McDonald is on that commission, as well as Heidi James, who is the president. They approved it either way. They said, look, if you want to put the two-bay or the three-bay, since we're not sure, they just said either way you want to do it is fine with them. So what I'm proposing to do is the full portion of it, where the holes are currently. The rail, what I'm proposing for the rail, which is, just go down a little more, I got a little sketch of the rail up on the side there. Just go down, up, I'm sorry. Yeah, keep going, right there. The front of the house, where's this thing? My battery going dead? Oh, there we are. The bottom rail in the front, on the front porch, is actually the same height as this. It's 8 inches or 7.5 inches, but it's 3.5 inches wide. It's huge and very thick. So this would be the same, visually would be the same in the back if you're looking at it because it's the same height. The pickets in the front are 2x2, but they're very fancy. These are 2x2, very simple. And then this pretty much matches the profile of the front rail. The reason I'm doing it, everything on the back, a little less fancy is because the original specs state that. They said that the rear porch is to be plain construction, plain columns. Doesn't exaggerate on that, so we don't know what was there, but the front of the house has Temple of the Winds capitals, has fluted columns, so I'm just posing a very simple, round, non-fluted column, composite, and just a Doric capital, very simple. And basically the railing, same thing, simplify it. So it all becomes similar to the front, but, height sort of thing, same width columns, but they're all simplified. The other thing I'm proposing is doing the columns in either brick or parged, because this is parged, all this is parged in the basement. The front piers are brick. So I kind of wanted to leave that open to do either one. And I also wanted to get approved on this, with this commission, is I would probably want to put a composite deck on here also. As far as the front, as far as these being composite, the front columns are composite, and that was approved by this committee years ago. And the roof would be metal to match the, well, it wouldn't match the original room, but it'd be metal.
Is it a steam
Yeah.
painted roof?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, what specs do you, you said that the specs called for it to be simple in the back. I mean, that makes sense. I just wondered, is it specifications when you purchase the property or something else?
No, these are the original 1852 specs.
Oh, neat.
So it
neat.
talks about them.
Yeah, that's great.
And so there were other things in the house that have changed since the original specs. It talks, the way the house was built and what it shows on plan, doors were changed here and there, so I think things were changed as they built the house, and I suspect that when they did this, they probably wanted to keep the symmetry, and so they probably changed the porch. Or it could have been changed at a later date, who knows? We don't know, so. But one of the reasons, by the way, one of the main reasons that I want to continue this over and do the whole porch is because my HVAC units are right here. This, for the people who have seen the house, this is a little moat, so to speak, and it goes 8 feet in the back, 8 feet wide. So this is where the HVAC units are down here. So when this is built, I'd want to put lattice on here, so that would, hide these. And even if I didn't put lattice, it would be under this, so it wouldn't be noticeable as much.
And more protection for your siding and windows, too.
Exactly.
That'll be nice.
What is the direction this faces?
That's the north side of the house.
Okay.
Kind of northwestish. It's a great house.
The applications commission?
We have reviewed it, and we recommend that it be approved as submitted.
Okay. Do I have a second? Are you
Second.
making a motion?
Yes.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
Thanks for
Alright.
bringing in drawings that show us what you're doing. We wouldn't expect any less, but it's nice to see proportions and everything. Research done, that's great.
I meant to bring in the actual specs, because I was going to show that. I completely
What's
forgot
that,
about it.
what's the date of that house? I forgot.
What's the name of it?
The date. When it was.
Rivermont.
No, the date when it was built
Oh,
way back.
1852.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have I've got, for instance, in the double parlor, the pocket doors are 4 feet wide each by 10 foot high. And it mentions that in the original specs. And their cost is not to exceed $30.
Yeah, just tell your builder that now and it'll be good shape.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
crazy.
Oh,
So
boy.
$15 per door.
Oh, jeez. Can I add something for us to think, or if we're adjourned? I don't know if we're adjourned.
We're not adjourned yet.
Okay.
Are you waiting for us to be adjourned?
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about application submission dates that people are given.
Okay, we're adjourned.
So you're not gonna act on?
1919 Rivermont.
They're not here.
Oh, you know what? If you wanted to do it, it's pretty simple. I think I know we don't normally do it without them, but it's pretty straightforward. You can't even see it. And I was there, and I think,
Could you act as their representative so that we're not kind of out of order? If you could actually represent them in that way?
can you do that?
Excuse me for a second. Do y'all want this recorded?
Yes, yeah, sorry, they did.
I'm just thinking, everyone else we require to be here or have a representative.
Well, I don't know if they have to be here. I think that we just prefer them to be here.
No, we require they
think,
be
yeah.
here.
Do we?
We've
Yep.
turned down a lot of people that don't
Yeah.
show up.
That's why I went ahead, just,
Okay.
I mean,
Frog.
I'm surprised he's not here because he was there and he, I told him I didn't think it would be an issue and he knew he had to be here, didn't he?
He did. I don't know if he thought your visit was,
Maybe. It could be. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just wondering if we can, is it, I mean, it's, I'd make a motion that it be approved. Because you really, it's,
Can you do a quick explanation for us?
I mean, I don't mind sitting up there, but I don't know if that's permissible. I mean, you tell me.
no, we've never done that.
No, I didn't think so.
I think it's entirely up to the commission if you want to go ahead and proceed with it or not. Ms. Butterfield is absolutely correct. Your normal procedure is not to hear the items if they're not here. Since Mr. Morris did visit them, if he feels comfortable in giving an overview as an advocate, I think that would be fine.
I just feel that
I don't
he-
think you necessarily have to go to the other
Yeah.
part, and I think you can fully participate in the deliberation also.
I just may feel bad if he thought that when I went out there, that was,
That was the,
so, but it's up to you.
It's the chair's duty to rule on procedural issues, so it's up to you. Yep.
we just haven't done it like that. Did you discuss, like, leaving it there and all that?
Because you can't see it from anywhere.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion that we approve it as submitted because you cannot, it is not in sight, not in view from either the side street, the rear of the house, or from Rivermont Avenue. And I will make a motion that it be approved as submitted.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then we're not using that as a precedent.
I actually recommended, I mean, are we done? I'll just make a comment after.
Adjourn.
Adjourn again.
Yes, we're adjourned again.
Yeah.